Hello everyone, Earl Henderson, Primordial Defense. Thank you for watching. I have another Monday quarterback video for you. I'm going to play this video and then pause intermittently here and there to talk about things that are going on and better explain what's going on and talk about things that I think that are being done right and or done wrong. So without further ado, here we go.
Hello, I'm Adam Blount, Public Information Officer for the Reno Police Department. This critical incident community briefing is intended to inform you of an incident that occurred in the city of Reno involving Reno police officers. You're about to see relevant video footage and learn about other evidence and police procedures related to this case. This will give you a better understanding of the events that occurred that day based on what we know right now. This video is not intended to draw any conclusions on whether or not the involved officers acted consistently with our policies or law until the facts are known and the investigation is complete. A word of caution: the images and information you are about to see may be disturbing. When a police officer uses force to arrest a suspect or defend against an attack, it can be graphic and difficult to watch. In addition, there may be strong language used by those in the video. Viewer discretion is advised, especially for young, children, and sensitive viewers. Uniformed Reno police officers who have regular contact with the public are equipped with body-worn cameras, which are generally affixed to the front of the officer's uniform. The camera captures video 30 seconds before the officers actually activate the camera, but this does not capture any audio. This feature is designed to record incidents when the officer does not have time to activate the camera.
My name is Oliver Miller and I'm a Deputy Chief with the Reno Police Department. Anytime an officer is involved in a shooting, it's our policy to have the incident investigated by an outside agency in accordance with the Washoe County Officer-Involved Shooting Protocol. These investigations are complete and thorough. They typically include interviews of those involved, collection and review of any available recordings, and an examination of all the evidence. The investigating agency will evaluate the facts and evidence and submits the case in its entirety to the Washoe County District Attorney's Office for criminal review. The District Attorney's Office evaluates the case and determines whether or not any criminal charges are appropriate. After the review, the Washoe County District Attorney's Office provides a public report with their findings. The video provided in this briefing was captured by the body-worn cameras of the involved officers, as well as the Reno Police Dispatch recording of the initial call for service. It's important to note that the body-worn cameras only provide a limited view and cannot capture everything an officer sees or experiences. On November 13, 2021 at 8:21 p.m., Reno police officers were dispatched to check for a suspicious subject that the reporting party found prowling in his yard. The reporting party further advised that the same subject was outside his residence earlier that day asking about a little girl that the reporting party did not know. Both of the incidents involving the suspicious subject were captured on Ring video. The first two videos you are about to see were recorded at approximately 2:49 p.m. The final video was recorded at 8:14 p.m. just prior to the officer-involved shooting.
All right, brother. Oh, yeah.
Okay, so this makes me think about home security. Now, it's not every time that I get to talk about things other than shooting stuff in here on these videos. Sometimes I get the opportunity to be able to talk about some other topics like home defense and stuff like that. So, home security, it is pretty common now to see home security cameras installed. They are, I wouldn't say cheap. You can get some real cheap cameras, and of course, when you pay real cheap, you get cheap quality. But when you think about the cost of security cameras over a decade ago, 2 decades ago, the price for them were pretty high, and only, larger businesses could afford them. So it wasn't something that was really a viable option. Wasn't really a viable option for homeowners. Now, interestingly enough, back in the early 2000s, I remember going to a meth lab, and these dudes had surveillance cameras set up outside their little trailer. Now, you got to think, like early 2000s, like before 2010, cameras were not like they are now. You didn't have a little tiny dome or whatever. Like, these were like big metal housings for a camera to go in. I mean, like, when you think about like 1990s kind of cameras, like that's what these things probably were. I don't know where they got them from, but they had these cameras set up, and they had them running to monitors inside their trailer so that they could see who was at the gate. They was all the way out in the country, and their driveway had a gate, and they had a camera mounted to it, and they was able to see who was sitting at their gate, and they could hit a button, and the gate was remote controlled, believe it or not. And then they had some cameras around their trailer showing the perimeter. Pretty high tech for meth heads. Other than that, like your average household just was not able to get cameras. I mean, they can get them. It's not like there wasn't a lack of ability to go find these things or see them. It was just money wise. Like, most people just weren't thinking about that kind of stuff, and to have a whole turnkey system in the house, it cost a lot of money. You had to have a separate desktop computer to run the thing, and space and all that, whatever. It's kind of complicated back then. Now it's super easy. Like, you can order off freaking Amazon a whole home security camera system, and you don't have to have an actual desktop computer to run the damn thing. I mean, you can get them still like that for more storage purposes, but like, you literally don't require a whole computer to run the things. And that's pretty nice. That's a pretty cool thing. And the cameras are super small, super easy to set up. And what's even better about them is their Wi-Fi. So the thing about older generation cameras is you had to run the wires from these cameras back to the source. So, for a house, for a lot of people, that would be a large undertaking, a large DIY kind of thing, having to drill a hole into the wall, run the cable up into the attic, crawl up in the attic, run that cable, bring it back to, let's say you have a home office, you'd have to bring that cable back over to the spot where your home office is going to be, identify where in the wall that you would like to drop it down to, cut into the drywall, have those wires come out, or you may cut into the ceiling and have cables come out of the ceiling, whatever. Like, you would have to do quite a bit of work to get those cameras in place. So they weren't very common back in the day, but now they're very common because it's super easy. You just run everything over Wi-Fi. You just mount the thing to the wall. You might have to run a power cord, or it comes with a little solar panel thing on there, and it has its own internal battery, and you never have to worry about anything other than just drilling it into the wall. So it's super easy now, and in most cases super cheap. So I do think that it is a good investment to get a camera system for your house. Now, I think some people put a little too much emphasis on cameras. They think cameras will like somehow keep bad guys away. It's like a talisman. No, it's not. I mean, they're still going to come and do criminal stuff. The benefit with the camera system is you can capture that, and if they're dumb enough not to wear a mask, you can get image of their face, and hopefully the local police will recognize them, because typically criminals are lifelong kind of criminals. They've been doing stuff for a while. They've been caught a few times, and if they are memorable enough to some officers, they may recognize them. So that's a good benefit to it. Also, it can help to fight your insurance company and have a better chance of winning claims, because insurance companies will fight you tooth and nail over claims. That's one thing I hate about insurance companies. You can pay for insurance for 20 years, never have a freaking claim, and then at year 25 of paying in, you have one claim, and they will fight you tooth and nail over it. And certain things, it's best to have the video camera footage of it to prove. That way they can't dispute anything or whatnot, and it's just a more solid case for you. So I like camera systems. Now, camera placement is important. So sometimes cameras are so high at an angle that they don't really capture a person's face. They just capture the general area. So if you got cameras set outside the house, I understand putting one, at a corner, covering your different sectors. That way you can see anybody approaching. But you also need to think about having some cameras down at face level to be able to capture people's facial images a lot better. And you could, in my opinion, get away with maybe having your higher mounted cameras at a lesser quality, but your face level cameras, spend a little bit extra on those and get the real good high definition. That way you don't run into a wanted photo from a bank robbery and it's all pixelated and you can't make out a damn thing other than it might be a human. Those images are completely worthless in my opinion and don't help anybody. So you could have, like I said, multiple cameras up around the perimeter of the house kind of showing avenues of approach and stuff like that. But the entrances going into your home, I think it'd be good to have some face level cameras that really capture in high definition their faces. Now, if they wear a mask, they wear a mask. You can't do anything about that. But if they're dumb enough not to wear a mask, then boom, you can get them, and hopefully local law enforcement will recognize them. Or you can hope that local law enforcement will share the image of the person, and someone from the public is going to recognize them on social media and will put their ass on blast. This particular camera, I think I remember seeing ring up in the top corner. It also happens to have audio, so the audio aspect is kind of nice to it as well. There may be some legal implications in some states regarding eavesdropping laws and stuff like that. That's something you would have to do your own research on. So you may, depending on how the camera is configured, you may be, in a sense, technically breaking the law if you're recording both video and audio without other people's consent. But it's your property, in my opinion, and I don't think that law would apply to your own castle, your own property. But if you're in an apartment complex or something like that, and you want to put one of those wireless ring cameras on the front of the door, then you might be looking into some potential issues there. But if it's your property outright, then I personally don't see what the issues are. Don't take that as any kind of legal advice, but you should probably do your own research and talk to your own attorneys. Don't listen to some dude on YouTube.
Hey, come here.
Now, as I said, the camera is just going to capture things that has happened. It's not like it's going to deter a lot of people. Now, it may deter someone who is car hopping and they're just walking around. They don't have a mask on. If they happen to notice like a red glow from a camera, the little infrared light, it may make them think twice about coming near that house because they don't want their face captured on it. But if they got a mask, they're not going to care about that. They'll just pull their mask down and keep on a-rocking. So in some cases, the camera may deter, but a lot of cases, it doesn't widely deter a whole lot. It just captures what goes on. So I think it's important to note that the biggest selling point for a camera is it just records stuff. It's not going to actually stop criminals from coming in or have a 100% or even a 50% success rate at deterring people or anything like that. Moving on.
I don't know, it's a weird thing. I have no idea. He decided, hey, there was a little girl over here, and he started asking me about if I was into fitness and
The little girl. So that kind of, him coming around asking where's the little girl, that reminds me of there's a video. It's on a YouTube channel called Zoocosis, and I think it's titled Little Girl. I can't remember what it's titled, but it's a hilarious video. If you haven't seen this video, Where's the Little Girl, then I highly suggest you make a search for that video.
Whoa! Come on, Kenzie. Come on, Coda. Come on. Come on.
All right, so it looks like the homeowner or whoever lives here is coming out of the house. I'm suspecting that when this dude came on the property and that motion light activated, I would say that it probably most likely sent a notification to his smart device saying there was movement outside the house. So that's another cool thing about these cameras, is they can alert you to movement outside the house. Now, some of them, the way they're designed or the software and stuff is designed, is it'll pick up every freaking movement, and that's not the greatest, because if that starts to happen, then you're going to become complacent with always dismissing those alerts because you've gotten so used to the camera pinging on every freaking squirrel, bird, dog, car driving by. There are better cameras that can, there are better cameras that can better screen, and it will detect human shapes. And that way dogs and birds and squirrels and stuff can run right in front of the camera. It won't send you a notification, but someone human-shaped, it will send that notification. A friend of mine has a camera system set up like that, and I really like it. I wish I could remember the name of it, but it's a pretty cool system. So the nice thing about, like I said, these cameras is they can alert you to movement outside the house. That's a good thing to know. That way, if someone was planning to break in, you would already know. You would have that forewarning that, hey, there's about to be entry done here, and you're not going to be taken by surprise. Now, what you do after being notified kind of depends on your level of training and experience, your skill set. So, for the most common person, average Joe, I would not recommend leaving your house and going outside and confronting someone, because you are walking into something that you are ill-equipped and ill-prepared for. It can go from 0 to 100 real quick, and if you don't have a gun, you don't have the experience or training of going hand to hand with people, you're going to be at a disadvantage. You really are. And just because you see one person doesn't mean there's not a second person there. Criminals do not always work alone. They often work in pairs. So while you're rolling on the ground wrestling with this dude, his buddy may come running up out of the car and swing a baseball bat across the back of your head. And then once you go down, who knows if he'll stop or not. He may continue to bash your head in with that baseball bat and kill you, or he may come up with a gun and shoot you in the head. Whatever, you don't want to take that chance. So average people, I do not recommend going outside and confronting people. If your camera has a speaker on it and a microphone, by all means, get on that thing and say, hey, what are you doing? Hopefully that would scare them away and they'll take off running. Or you could be quiet, call the police, and hope the police will get there in time and catch them. But a lot of times, depending on the area, that's not going to happen. The police are busy. They got multiple calls, and there's long response times. Now, that's not everywhere, but that's some places. Some places they can be super quick. So you would also kind of have to know what your AO is like, or your area. You have to know what your area is like. In some larger towns, good luck calling the police and getting them there on time. I mean, there's some places that are so short-staffed and so busy, there's calls holding for hours. So if you have that microphone and speaker on your camera, that would be a good thing to utilize, and just get on that speaker and say, hey, what are you doing? Get out of here. And most of the time, if people are there just snooping around, trying to car hop, trying to find stuff, and they hear a voice like that or noise, they're going to take off running because they don't want to get caught and go to jail any more than anyone else does. I understand wanting to catch people and see that they are punished, but the juice is just not worth the squeeze when you're not trained or prepared to go deal with potentially violent individuals. So you just need to stay your ass in the house. Even if you're off-duty law enforcement, I would even then recommend that you think twice about just running and charging out there, especially if you're just going to be running and charging out there in shorts and a t-shirt. You are experienced and trained wearing a uniform and a duty belt. If you run out there with just shorts and a t-shirt, you are going at it in an attire that you are not used to. That is not your comfort zone, and muscle memory may be kicking in, and you may be trying to reach down to your belt area to grab something and then realize that, oh shit, I don't have my duty belt on. So if you are law enforcement, then I would recommend throwing your belt on before going out, at least maybe your vest. That way if there is a potential gun outside, then at least you're going to be protected. But even then, I still don't recommend it, because if you get overpowered and you've gone outside, who's protecting your family if those people decide to come into your house? Yeah, there might not be anybody to protect your family. Your wife may be able to barely operate a gun. I don't know. Each family is different, but even for off-duty police, I would say think twice. Think about it. Lay people, yeah. I mean, don't even attempt it. I get the desire to want to catch people and stuff like that, but you're playing with gasoline, and sometimes you can play with it and get away with it. Other times you can get your ass burned.
The subject fled in his car before officers arrived. The reporting party got in his car and followed the subject while updating dispatch of their location. Officers located the subject's car in the area of Plumb Lane and Hunter Lake Drive and conducted a traffic stop on it. 2 officers and 1 sergeant contacted the subject. The driver had partially rolled down his window 1 to 2 inches, but refused to fully roll down the window and identify himself. Believing that the subject may have committed a crime at the reporting party's residence, the sergeant informed the subject that he was being lawfully detained and warned him that he would break his window if he continued to refuse to comply. The driver failed to comply with his directions, and the sergeant attempted to break the driver's side window with the glass punch tool. When that failed, the sergeant grabbed the top of the window, which was open just enough for his fingers to fit inside. With the sergeant holding on to the window, the suspect accelerated away. While clinging to the side of the vehicle, the sergeant ordered the suspect to stop the car or he would shoot. After driving with the sergeant clinging to the side of the vehicle for approximately 300 feet, the suspect finally stopped and the sergeant was able to free himself from the window. The suspect sped away in the car and the sergeant shot at him. The sergeant later told investigators that he feared the suspect would harm others due to the manner in which he was driving.
Sam 388, Sam 374, Reno 1063. On Foster approaching Idlewild, reporting parties following a 1037 subject that was between the reporting parties' residents and the neighbor's residence. Was on scene earlier asking about a little girl. Reporting parties off-duty J2 with RFD following in a silver Dodge pickup. And I guess the 1037 subject is actually in a vehicle, not on foot. It's a black Toyota or Kia four-door sedan. On Foster approaching Idlewild. Sam 388, Sam 274, they're now eastbound Idlewild towards Idlewild Park. The suspect's a white male, 20 to 30 years of age, 6 foot, stocky build, was described as clean cut, wearing a black hooded sweatshirt.
And Charles 209, if you're not close, I can probably shoot an 8 back on right.
What's that? I do. I was just about to say. Yeah. Stop region. Roll your windows down. Roll the windows down. Roll your fucking windows down. Roll your windows down, please. I can't hear what you're saying.
All right, so I have no problem whatsoever with adding some language into verbal commands. That doesn't bother me the least bit at all. However, if you're going to raise your voice like that, so to speak, it's best to do that. Well, if you're going to be nice first, then be mean. It's hard to go straight being right at the beginning real tough and then take a step back and then start with the please stuff. Like, it doesn't really work very well like that. So if you're going to use please and stuff like that, it's best to do that at the beginning. Now, some stuff you just can't always use please with people. Some people have to be talked to a certain way because that's the only language they know. They don't understand nice, civilized, courteous discourse between people or dialogue. They understand brute force. They understand rougher language. That's their culture. So, like I said, some people, you got to talk to them like that, because if you don't, they're going to view you as a little bitch. Now, start not coming in strong and then backing it up doesn't send a strong message to this person. It puts it in that person's head that, well, I own this. This person ain't about it. So I think that, you know, he I'm not saying that he should have started off nice with saying please, but since he did, then he should have started with that first and then escalated into roll your fucking windows down. Because like I said, it's hard to go from starting with that, then going to, well, please roll your windows down.
Roll your window down. Huh?
What did I do?
Because we need to talk to you, and you're reaching. Okay, can you hand your ID through the window?
Can you explain to me what law I violated?
Huh?
Can you explain to me what law I violated?
Yeah, a resident is worried that...
So this is going into a classic power struggle. I don't believe in giving anyone an inch. Now, sometimes it can be hard to do this right off the bat. I mean, sometimes it's just in human nature to always want to prove why you're right, and it can be easy to follow, or not follow, to fall into the power struggle and sit there and argue with people. I fall victim to it myself. I've probably, you know, sounded like a hypocrite by you know, talking and saying, you know, don't get into the power struggle when I myself have gotten into power struggles with people. But if you can avoid it at all cost, and stick with ask, make, tell. That, I think that's the best policy right there. Ask, make, or ask, tell, make. You ask them, you tell them, and then you make them. That has always worked out pretty good with me. I think it's a good approach to take, and it's a simple approach to take. This whole standoff thing, talking for hours, like, it doesn't do much of any good. It usually ends up escalating at that point. And some people seem to think that de-escalation entails nothing but talking. No, it doesn't. It does not at all. De-escalation can actually involve physical force. And by using physical force, you can de-escalate a situation from increasing. You can prevent it from going from 0 to 20 to 100 real quick. If you can keep it down at 20, that's by using the force, then great. If you fail to use force properly or at all when you should be using it, then it can jump to 100 real quick. So de-escalation can involve the use of force, and in some instances it should involve the use of physical force. Try to avoid the power plays as much as possible, and I'll back it up a few seconds and hit replay, and you just kind of watch this power struggle as it unfolds.
Stop reaching. Roll your windows down. Roll the windows down. Roll your fucking windows down. Roll your windows down, please. I can't hear what you're saying.
Roll your window down. Huh?
What did I do?
Because we need to talk to you, and you're reaching. Okay, can you hand your ID through the window?
Can you explain to me what law I violated?
Huh?
Can you explain to me what law I violated?
Yeah, a resident is worried that you're...
Hey, you're being detained. Roll the window down. You're being lawfully detained for a traffic stop because you were harassing somebody at a house. Roll the window down. Yeah, you were. Roll the window down. Roll it down or I'm going to break the window. Roll the window down or I'm going to break the window. Roll the window down or I'm going to break the window. You're being lawfully detained. I just told you.
All right, so he does the right thing. He tells him multiple times that he's being detained, and he gives him chances to do what's right, but the dude fails to do what's right. Then the officer takes action, and that's good. Like I said earlier, I don't believe that this whole standing around talking for a long period of time actually solves anything. I think it makes it worse in a lot of cases. And so this officer, this sergeant, gave him the commands. He gave them to him more than once. He told him what was going to happen. He laid out what the consequences were going to be. And old dude in the car decided that he's going to be Billy Badass and not follow those commands. So what happened? This officer started to break the window. Now, he started to break the window with a window punch, but he did not do it properly. Window punches work well when you utilize them in the corners of the windows. So we'll use this back window, for example. If you try to take a window press and press directly in the center of this window, it's not going to work very well. Yeah, you may be able to get the window breaker to get the glass to crack, but it's going to take more effort to do so. If you want to break glass, you go to the corners of the window frame and press there with the window brake. You go to that corner, you press in with it, it snaps, and then you see the whole glass pane just spider web out. It's tempered safety glass, so it's all going to crumble and everything. And once that happens, all you got to do after that is take something like your flashlight or baton and rake the glass. Now, the problem with most cars is they have window tint on them. So once you pop that glass, that window tint is going to keep that crumbled up tempered safety glass in place. So you're going to have to deal with that glass kind of just hanging there, and you're really going to have to rake the window frame to be able to get in. If it doesn't have any tint whatsoever, it's going to crack, crumble, and most of the glass will fall out, but you still may have to use something to rake the frame and get all the pieces to completely fall the rest of the way out. Alright, so hit replay. He's running pretty fast. This is, I mean, and I probably shouldn't be laughing at this one. This is pretty damn dangerous. Lots of officers are injured and or killed when people take off on them and they're stuck on the vehicle, whether their officers are intentionally holding on or if they're somehow stuck within the vehicle or something like that, and then they take off. Lots of officers get injured and or killed this way. And then for some reason these officers decide that it's going to be the better idea for them to take off running after this vehicle. I don't think that's the greatest thing for them to do. Personally, I think one of them, if not both of them, should have turned around, went back to the vehicles and got in the vehicles and started pursuing this guy. That way, whenever this officer who's on the vehicle does become dislodged and potentially goes rolling in the road or whatever, one of the other officers is already in their vehicle and they can initiate pursuit on this vehicle and keep up with them so they don't get out of eyesight.
Yeah, no worries.
And so now they are at such a far distance from their vehicles, they would have to turn back around, run all the way back to them, get in, and then come down the road. And who knows where the guy would have gone after that point. So I think they kind of dropped the ball by not getting in their vehicles and pursuing.
I thought he was going to 1050 into me. I was like, I don't think he's. Or even in the second lane. Stop reaching. Roll your windows down. Roll the windows down. Roll your fucking windows down.
So I've already seen it from this point of view. I'll just push it forward here.
Because we need to talk to you.
Why violating? You're being detained because you were harassing somebody at a house. Roll the window down. Yeah, you were. Roll the window down. Roll it down or I'm going to break the window. Roll the window down or I'm going to break the window. Roll the window down or I'm going to break the window. You're being lawfully detained. I just told you.
Watch out.
All right, now this is from the sergeant's point of view.
Let me turn off the car. He's reaching under the foot.
Subject GOA in a white seat, and the manager is going to report on my report in the morning. 7276, confirm Sam 32 on 68. Copy, take 76 and 382, can you show me about Sam 3? Confirm. Reno Sam 396, UTL 10. Sam 396.
Yeah, a resident is worried that you're...
Hey, you're being detained. Roll the window down. You're being lawfully detained.
For what?
For...
So it seems like maybe the sergeant was just kind of letting the regular officers take this on, which is good. Like, I think a leader should let the people under them take a little bit more primary, so to speak. They need that experience. They need to be able to get to that level that sergeant's at. That sergeant's been there, done that. In most places. In most places. There probably are some places where a sergeant got hired and has not been there, done that, and avoids work. So can't make that blanket statement of they've been there, done that. But typically, a lot of sergeants have been there, done that. They've done this kind of stuff before. They've experienced this blatant disregard, this blatant refusal to follow any commands. And he could see that these officers were struggling. He could see that they were probably getting into the power struggle with this person, and now he's coming over there to take charge of this and take over. And I like his approach. I like his demeanor, and how he tries to take charge of the situation and doesn't play with this power struggle bullshit. Like, he tells them what he wants and what's going to happen if he doesn't.
For a traffic stop because you were harassing somebody at a house. Roll the window down. Yeah, you were. Roll the window down. Roll it down or I'm going to break the window.
If he has black lines in his house.
Roll the window down or I'm going to break the window. Roll the window down or I'm going to break the window. You're being lawfully...
Now, at this point, if they had stop sticks in the vehicle, I think that it would have been a good idea for one of them to go back and get the stop sticks and come up to this vehicle and just set them under the tire. That way, if this person decided to take off, at least a tire is going to be deflated, if not two of them. Or I think it could have been a decent tactic for one of them to go back there, get in their cruiser, pull out, make a U-turn, and pull directly right in front of this person's car. That way it would make it even more difficult for them to just suddenly accelerate and take off. Now, obviously, they could hit reverse and cut the wheel and hit drive again, but that would cause them to have to recognize, the thing, observe what's going on, orientate themselves, decide, and act. That's going to take a little bit of time. But most certainly, if they had spike strips, I think it'd be totally acceptable practice tactic to, in this kind of scenarios, it's starting, just go get it, throw it under the tire. That way, if they take off, boom, you make your job a little bit easier when you're trying to chase them in the vehicle.
Detained.
For what?
I just told you. Stop! Stop! Stop the car! Stop the car! Stop the car! I'm gonna shoot! Stop the car! Stop the car! Stop the car! Stop the car.
I didn't do anything.
Stop the car.
All right.
The car.
I didn't do anything.
Stop the car.
Okay, so he was no longer being dragged by the vehicle. The dude started to take off, and he decided to shoot at him. Some people would say there's a problem with that. I don't see a problem with it whatsoever. This person has proven that he has a complete disregard for human life. He just tried to drag a police officer to their death. Who knows what else this person is going to do once he gets away from them. So I think it's totally acceptable to use deadly physical force in this instance, because this guy is a clear and present danger to the rest of the public with the way he's acting.
Reno Sam 380, shots fired. Suspect last seen eastbound Plumb. I'm okay.
Copy, shots fired. Suspect last seen eastbound Plumb.
You good? I'm okay. Let's do me a favor.
This yours?
That's mine. Leave it.
Okay.
Close the street off. Yeah, close the street off.
A few minutes later, an uninvolved citizen in the area of Plum Lane and Lakeside Drive reported that a vehicle had just arrived in the parking lot with a subject inside who'd been shot. Officers responded to that location, where they found the suspect and the vehicle from the traffic stop. Officers immediately began providing medical aid to the suspect. He was then transported to a local hospital where he was treated for non-life-threatening injuries sustained during the incident. The Washoe County Sheriff's Office is the investigating agency for this incident, and the involved sergeant is currently on administrative leave during this ongoing investigation. The suspect was later booked on unrelated felony charges by the Sparks Police Department.
In the coming months, the Reno Police Department's Office of Internal Affairs will review all relevant information and make a determination as to whether the officer's tactics, drawing and use of a deadly weapon, and use of force were within policy and standardized procedures of the Reno Police Department. Those findings will be submitted to the Chief of Police for review in accordance with the Reno Police Department policy. This body-worn camera footage has been made available to our community to keep you informed. Any additional camera footage will be made available at the conclusion of the formal investigation. The Reno Police Department takes these incidents very serious and treat them accordingly. For questions or additional information regarding the Reno Police Department or our policies, please visit www.renopd.com.
Man, it's 2022. You ain't got to say the www part. Just say renopd.com. That's another one of my little pet peeves. People saying www. Like, all right, we're on the fucking internet. All right, we understand it's www. So the outcome of this, I do recall seeing that, or remember reading that the person went to go seek medical attention. They were shot. They were treated for non-life-threatening injuries. But I can't remember any other details after that. I don't know if anything negative has happened towards the officer or anything like that. That's it. That's all I've got to say on this video. If you like what you hear and see, go ahead and give me a like and a share. If you have not already, hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for more Monday quarterback videos. Earl Henderson, Primordial Defense. Thank you for watching.